What is up, guys? Welcome back to my channel. I am super excited for this video where I'm going to show you a couple of different team comps that I use to defeat TOA 100 when it's Ath'taros. So I'm just going to start attacking him and kind of walk you through what I do. This team that I'm showing right here can sometimes auto him, but it doesn't always succeed. So I'm going to manually destroy the crystals. And while I'm doing that, I'm going to walk you through exactly what I'm doing. So first things first, we want to make sure that we have a team that's made up of a couple of different elements. And the first one is that we need a DOT monster. And I find that Beretta and Vero are a good combo for that. Now, my goal when I'm attacking him is to damage over time the crystals, and high impact damage attacks I want to hit at Ath'taros. So anytime it's Bella's turn, I'm going to lower the defense of Ath'taros unless I need to heal the team, and then healing is always a priority. I'm not super worried about Beretta yet. But anytime I'm dealing damage, I want to hit Ath'taros. Anytime I'm dealing DOT or damage over time, I want to hit the crystal. Now, the other thing to keep in mind is that Ath'taros does have a counterattack, so you'll notice that every time I attack him, he counterattacks the person I'm attacking. So DOTs, I like to just take out the crystals first, and I don't have a huge preference as to which crystal I'm going for, to be honest. I don't think it makes a huge difference with this team comp. But I do like to DOT the crystals as much as I can and get them out of the picture so that I'm focused purely on Ath'taros. Now, I did provoke him earlier, and I really only do that when I'm using Mav. If I need to get more, health into Mav. His provoke doesn't really do anything because Ath'taros' attack is an AoE attack. But for Bella, I do have him second awakened, so anytime it's Bella's turn and I can't heal, I am going to go right for him because I want to decrease that attack bar, but I also want to lower the defense. So again, just to kind of recap what I'm doing, I'm damage over timing the crystals with Vero and with Beretta. Sorry, lost my words there for a second. And I'm attacking him to kind of lower his attack. Anytime I'm attacking him, it's to inflict damage with a high damage monster. Anytime I've got a DOT opportunity, I'm going to attack the crystal. Now, at some point, you will max out DOTs that you can put on a crystal, and when that happens, like the one on the right, I stop DOTing that one with Vero, and I focus exclusively on the other one. Additionally, I'm going to use Turbulence from Beretta anytime that his attack bar is too full to lower his attack. I really don't want him to get too many turns in because he does do, a decent amount of damage, and he inflicts harmful effects. So I really don't want that to happen. So I'm kind of like, you can kind of see what I'm doing. I'm just trying to walk you through it, talk and attack at the same time. So when I have the opportunity to lower his defense, I do. Mav doesn't really need any health right now, so I am going to just attack him with Mav. And then anytime I've got the opportunity where he's got low defense, that's when I'm going to use Special Assault from Bella, or not from Bella, from Spectra, because it will inflict a lot of damage. Now, again, this is a juncture where it's like, do I use Turbulence or do I use DOT? Do I use Phoenix Fury because it'll DOT the crystal on the left? He's got a full attack bar, basically, so I'm going to use Turbulence at this point. I am going to heal everybody, even though I don't really need to yet. I like to be a little proactive with my healing. And I am going to DOT that crystal on the left a little bit. Use Wings of Winds to try to get Spectra, that Special Assault back. And then I'm also using a couple of things that I haven't really talked about, which are attack bar reducers. So anytime I've got the opportunity to reduce his attack bar, I want to do that. I find that I don't really need to spend the attack bar reducers on the crystals. I just personally don't. But I want to reduce his attack bar so that he's not getting turns. And I'm using Spectre Special Assault to basically inflict a lot of damage when his defense is compromised. So the Turbulence from Beretta allows us to decrease the whole attack bar. And then the other attack that we have from Spectra, the backlash that we have from Spectra, lowers the attack bar by 30% with a 50% chance. So doesn't always land, but it does tend to slow them down. And so with Mav's third skill, I add speed to my team, and with Spectra's third skill, I decrease team on their speed. So I'm doing a few different things here, and I know I'm just kind of sharing some info with you. I'm just kind of walking you through the mechanics of how I'm doing this so that you can kind of apply it and understand it yourself. We've maxed out DOTs on the left, and the next one will destroy that crystal, so I don't really need to stress over that crystal anymore. Let's see here. So just to kind of recap the strategy, I'm basically dealing damage by lowering his defense, DOTing the crystals until they're capped out, and then I go for Ath'taros. Turbulence to decrease his attack bar so he doesn't get any of those AoE attacks in, though he just got one. His AoE was on cooldown, so he just hit a single target. Backlash to slow him down, as well as remove some of his attack bar. And then again, I want to use Bella to lower the defense. If you have Bella second awakened, it is going to sometimes lower his attack bar as well, which is really nice. However, you do not want to use Special Assault from Spectra unless you have a defense break on Ath'taros. So, we've got our defense break. And we are going to... Let's see if we get it in time. I'm going to heal everybody, get that defense break in there, and I'm going to Special Assault him, which really, you can tell, his Special Assault is like his most effective skill. And we've now got that crystal gone. I'm going to heal my team here coming up, because they did take a pretty hefty attack there. Backlash, Turbulence to get rid of that attack bar. And honestly, I probably could auto at this point, but my thing is like with this team, it's not quite as auto friendly. And I don't like to just have it use the skills in the order that they'll come out. I like to use the skills in due time when it makes the most sense. Like you can see right now, we're kind of in a pickle because we've got Spectra with really low HP, and he's going to hit him. So luckily my Spectra has decent defense, so it's not the end of the world. But if we weren't on auto, or if we were on auto, I should say, you know, that risk that we just kind of averted, or that crisis that we just averted, could have been a lot worse. Now, I am going to use Special Assault here because he's almost dead. Normally, I wouldn't use Special Assault every time I've got the opportunity if Spectra's got low health, but I'm pretty sure we're about to take him out, so I'm not super stressed. So that is one of the team comps that you can use, a pretty obtainable team comp, definitely a free-to-play team comp that you can check out for Trial of Ascension when you've got Ath'taros. I'll show you a couple other team comps, but I just want to show you real quick. I've got my Beretta on Despair and Energy. I've got my Spectra on Swift and Energy. In fact, you can see that this works even with Broken Set. I don't have a full Energy or a full Swift, and we were able to take him out. So I'm borrowing those runes for some other stuff I'm testing out for another video. But anyway, you can see we can do it with Spectra. Not even a ton of runes in there. Vero, I've got on Violent and Energy. Bella, I've got on Violent and then Broken. And Mav, I've got on Violent and Energy. So really helpful to have them on Violent. If you can't get Violent runes, you want to put them on Swift. And that can be really, really powerful too. So that's team comp number one. Next, I'm going to show you a semi-auto team comp. It does require a Nat 5, so it's a little harder to obtain, but it can be really powerful if you're further in the game, you've got this monster, and you want to auto it. So let's jump to that. Okay, so this second team comp that I'm going to show you I like because you can auto through the first two floors without any trouble. And then you can semi-auto the boss stage. So I'm just going to show you real quick. If you go auto, what you basically have to do is you have to target the left crystal first and basically wait until the DOTs from Vero stack up to a level where it'll actually destroy the crystal. Now, what I've done here to kind of explain why this team works is I've done a couple of things. I've created speed with this team by adding Verde, who you probably have if you're doing Dragons B10. But he basically speeds the team up along with Mav, who adds the speed buff to the team. And so between the speed buff, the speed increase and turn increase from Verde, and the attack bar reduction from Verad, you basically can get through this pretty automated. Now, what does happen sometimes is that Verde will die. Not a huge deal, to be completely honest, as long as you've gotten rid of the crystals first, which I find happens the majority of the time. So the other thing that I will say about this team comp is that while it's pretty automated and you don't have to stress too much about, like, you know, clicking all the buttons and waiting all the time, it is a little bit slower. So because you reduce the attack bar from Verad, it does take longer for those DOTs to eventually kick in. So basically the crystal has to resist the attack bar reduction and take DOT, which doesn't always happen. So that's how I like to take it. What I will show you is that you could also, in theory, just target Ath'taros with everybody, and you don't have a ton of damage dealers on the team. So it's, you know, it kind of sucks, but as you can see, eventually that crystal will resist and will catch up and you'll do all the damage. So I prefer to target the left crystal, then the right crystal with DOT from Verde, or Dark Ifrit. Sorry, I said Verde, but I meant Veramos. I prefer to target the right crystal with DOT from Vero and basically build that up. So at this point, what I've done is I've destroyed the left crystal. I've got the right crystal is about to, or would be about to, take some damage over time if we had built some up. We didn't, so that's a bummer, but that's okay. I'm basically just destroying each crystal, and then I'm gonna go right for the guy in the middle. So I'm gonna pause here, and I'm gonna bring you back right as I'm about to defeat Ath'taros, just so you can see that this team comp does work, but you don't have to sit here while I automatically DOT and kill the crystals. So we'll show you what that looks like in a second. Okay, so sorry about that. My video software kind of glitched and I lost some of my video there. Basically, just to let you know, that last round ended. We lost the fire vampire, but we completed it on auto once we got rid of the crystals. So that second one is semi-auto, a little harder to achieve. So this last one, I started already, and I kind of just, it takes a little while to kill him with this one, but it's super stable, and so that's why I like to talk about this one last. Hard to achieve, super stable, a little slow, but if you're like, I just want to auto everything, I don't want to have to click any buttons, this team will get you through TOA 100 without any clicking of the buttons, right? You don't have to do anything. And so it's a really great little team, but it's made up of 2 Nat 5s, and so it's a little harder to come by. So we've got Wusa and we've got Beth, and they are both kind of vital to the success of the team. And the reason that is because Wusa has an immunity buffer and a shield buffer, which stops you from taking too much damage and stops you from taking the harmful effects from Ath'taros when he does get a turn, because we don't have a lot of attack bar reduction on this team. So he is important. And Beth is important because her second skill actually hits both crystals and adds damage over time. And she's also a damage dealer, so she is kind of one of the monsters that's actually doing the majority of the work to bring down his attack bar. Because as you can see, his health bar, as you can see, he, with some of the weaker attacks, doesn't really take any damage, and in fact kind of heals almost more damage than he's taking. So when Beth does get a turn, she's dealing a lot of damage, which is really helpful. So, you know, Beth and Wusa do play vital roles. Colleen, you could probably replace with Bella if you wanted a defense break. I just like Colleen because she gives the attack buff. It's, you know, both will do the same thing. But this is like my go-to team for stability, not speed. And again, if you're watching this and you're kind of like, these are like random teams, I'm just trying to show you some of the more non-traditional teams that are composed of monsters that you're probably trying to get or that you probably have. So like the first one was very achievable, mostly manual, but works. Second one, a little less achievable in terms of getting your hands on those monsters, but totally doable and semi-auto. And then this last one is the auto team that I use, but it is harder to achieve. So you've got, you're easy to come by, getting started. You're a little more advanced when you want semi-auto or you just want to get through, and then your full auto team that I personally use. Just to kind of show you, you could replace Colleen with Bella and do the same thing. So you could replace Colleen with Bella and still get good results. You could replace Beth with another damage dealer, but they need to be relatively tanky and they need a DOT. So if you're going to use another damage dealer, you want it to be a damage dealer that has damage over time. So you could use like a Hewa, to kind of have an attack bar reducer, again, to prevent more attacks and do some DOT. But, I find that it's pretty easy to take the crystals out. Again, slow team, really stable, but it works. And those are teams that will get you through Trial of Ascension. 3 non-traditional teams, if you will. First one, pretty standard, pretty traditional, but the other 2, less traditional, and pretty powerful. So if you enjoyed this video, give me a thumbs up, drop a comment below. I cannot wait to hear from you and see what your thoughts are on these less traditional Trial of Ascension teams that you may be able to make up yourself for beginner, advanced, and more of the Nat 5er out there. So give me a thumbs up, like, subscribe, all that good stuff, and I will see you in the next video.